This season continues to get weirder and weirder. What's up, everybody? Well, week 5 has officially concluded. I hope you all are having a great week. And with that, it's time to get into this week's power rankings. Los Angeles Rams, starting, of course, with the Los Angeles Rams. We're going to put them in the borderline elite tier. Now, this was a pretty bad loss, admittedly, for this Rams team, as they choked the game away to the San Francisco 49ers. But I still think this is a really good football team, and I trust them to bounce back. The Seattle Seahawks are also in that similar vein. It seems like for Seattle right now, they are right up there with the Rams and the 49ers for that division. And it seems like this is actually the most competitive division in football right now. And that is really surprising to say the very least. The New York Giants, yeah, it was fun while it lasted, but this team is back to tanking. This team is just not good. Let's just put it that way. They lost to the Saints, who are an equally bad team on Sunday, and it was mostly because they could not hold on to the football. They could not stop turning the ball over. And it was just a hard game to watch for Giants fans. The Atlanta Falcons were on bye this week, I believe, but they're kind of a mediocre team. Let's just put it that way. The Atlanta Falcons are up and down this season. Like, they beat the Commanders, who were without Jaden Daniels at the time, but they've also lost badly to the Carolina Panthers, who are kind of another up and down team as well. And it's interesting. We do not know who this Falcons team is yet. The the Bengals, on the other hand, are a team that we know exactly what they are. They are a bad team. They're not quite tanking yet. We're not going to go that far yet, but this team is just bad. They have no quarterback, and their defense is just abysmal. And it showed again in their loss to a really good offense in the Detroit Lions. The Baltimore Ravens are yet another bad team. I would actually think their situation is worse than Cincinnati's right now. It is that bad down in Baltimore. The New York Jets are a tanking team. They are the last 0-5 team, and it's kind of embarrassing at this point. Like, they have not gotten a single turnover in their 5 games, and they're the first team in NFL history to do that. And it's hard to watch the Jets, to be honest, because they have zero defense. And when Justin Fields does have a good game, like he kind of did this week, the defense just craps the bed, and it's hard to watch this team in general. The Las Vegas Raiders. They lost again this week, and the Raiders are just struggling. It seems as though this team might actually be worse than last year's unit. Even with Ashton Genty and Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, they are not getting it going because Geno Smith cannot stop turning the ball over, and they're not getting Ashton Genty involved, and it is a bad season to be a Raiders fan again. The Cleveland Browns, yeah, they're tanking, but at least they're one of the better tanking teams. The Browns put up a good fight in their Europe game against the Vikings this week, and that is something to be proud of, at least. Like, this team looked better than they usually do. But this is still a team that needs to figure out their quarterback situation above all else. Is Dylan Gabriel the guy? Maybe. He looked pretty good against the Vikings. So we'll see how things go from here. But a team that is just trending downwards in general is the Miami Dolphins. Now, they're not the worst team in football by any means, but they are hard to watch, to say the very least. They are severely underperforming. Their one win has come against the worst team in football, and it's not fun to be a Dolphins fan, to say the very least. Their offense is very bad, and this week was a new low as they gave up a 17-0 lead to the Panthers. The New England Patriots. We're going to put this team all the way up in good but not great. They have been in mid for a couple of weeks now, and I was kind of waiting for this team to make a jump that would like put them up into the higher tier of teams, and they finally did it. The Patriots went out and they beat the Bills, who are a top 5 team, spoiler alert. And this team is finally making some progress. Drake May is looking really good, and everything is just clicking. It seems like Mike Vrabel has gotten this team going, and that is exactly what Patriots fans want to see. The Washington Commanders are yet another borderline elite team. With Jaden Daniels coming back, everything clicked again as they destroyed the Chargers on Sunday. It looked like the Chargers had them for a minute, but then the Commanders scored 27 points, so everything was fine. And things are finally clicking again in Washington. The New Orleans Saints. I'm gonna put them in the bad tier. This is probably a tanking team, but we're just gonna ignore that for a minute because they finally got a win. They beat the Giants, which is not the most impressive, but hey, they're not going 0-17, and that's good for them, so they get a tier up. The Kansas City Chiefs. What is happening down in KC right now? Like, they're a good team. They should be clicking by now. And it looked like things were clicking a little bit in the last 2 weeks for sure, as they beat the Ravens last week by a lot, even though the Ravens are not really a good team this season. But this week against the Jaguars, things are not quite clicking. Something is missing. Maybe Rasheed Rice, but it doesn't seem like everything has fully come together yet. And they lost to a Jaguars team that is really good, but is not top 5 caliber by any means. The Carolina Panthers. I'm gonna put them in the good but not great tier. I think of all 2 and 3 teams this season, this is the one that has impressed me the most to this point. The Panthers are really up and down, like their division rivals, the Falcons. But the Falcons are not showing as much promise, in my opinion, as the Panthers are. Like, the Panthers shut out the Falcons maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now they've made a comeback from down 17 nothing against the Dolphins, which coming down from down 3 scores is difficult, and you cannot understate that. The Green Bay Packers. We're going to have to put them in the borderline elite tier. I'm going to put them just below the Rams. But the Packers had an interesting bye week because almost all of their division rivals won this week. I mean, the Bears, I think, were on bye. I'm not sure. I think they were on bye. Yeah, I think they were on bye. But the Vikings and the Lions both won this week, which doesn't really help the Packers, like, at all. And now they're sitting at 2-1-1, and they're kind of at a slight disadvantage right now. The Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to put them in the top 5 because I trust this team, but at the same time, this that was not a great game. They choked away a 14-point lead in the second half. And the narrative that they can't play a full half is still true. Yeah, I know fans are upset about their coordinator, but right now, they just need to not worry about it. They need to move on to next week and just keep the train moving. As for the Denver Broncos, they get moved up all the way to borderline elite. Man, that was a statement win for the Broncos by beating Philadelphia in Philadelphia. And now this team actually looks like the best team in their division, with the Chiefs kind of struggling and the Chargers have been trending downwards the last couple of weeks. The Indianapolis Colts are actually a top 5 team, which is crazy to say right now. But Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in football. Daniel Jones is playing like an MVP caliber quarterback. And it's really fun to watch this team for like the first time in like a decade. And now we've got the Arizona Cardinals. Oh boy, what is this Arizona Cardinals team? They're mid for sure, but what happened on Sunday? They gave up a 12-point deficit, which doesn't seem like that much at first, until you think about how they gave it up. They had another Deshaun Jackson type fumble, whatever wacko nonsense that Cam Ward interception touchdown thing turned into, and it was just the most bizarre Titans comeback I have ever seen in my life. The Chicago Bears are another interesting case as they were on bye this week. I think, I'm not entirely sure. But I think the Bears were on bye, but I still think that this is kind of a mediocre team. Yeah, they've won a couple of games in a row now, and they look a little better than they were. But I still don't fully trust the Chicago Bears yet. I think they need to continue to get a little more consistent before I can trust them. Same deal, really, with the Minnesota Vikings. I, I think for this team that they got a good win, but it was against a team that they should have beaten more easily than they did. And I like where the Vikings are going. I think Carson Wentz is having a nice little season here. Really, Kevin O'Connell is getting everybody going except for JJ McCarthy at QB. And it's kind of funny. But I think for this Vikings team, if they can continue to get better and really just continue to push for the postseason, then this team might not be a disappointment for their fans. The Houston Texans. Now, this team is actually starting to trend up a little bit. Yeah, their win against the Titans wasn't the most inspiring thing ever, for sure. But now they've beaten an actually slightly better team, and they beat them by a lot more. And it seems like their offense has finally come alive. And this week they put up 44 points on the Ravens, which is the most in John Harbaugh's time as the Ravens head coach. And that's great. You want to see the Texans just get better and get into rhythm. The Tennessee Titans, this is still a bad team, but it seems like they're starting to make some better decisions again, which you want to see from this team. And it seems as though the Titans, they got their first win, but they really shouldn't have, if you know what I mean. Like, this game was not theirs at all. The Cardinals just choked it away, and let's really just put it at that. The Pittsburgh Steelers were on bye this week, but this is still a borderline team no matter how you look at it. The Pittsburgh Steelers right now are a team that is just playing well. And that is enough because their defense, or their not their defense, their division is absolutely putrid. All of their division rivals are just terrible. And so, as of right now, it seems as though the Steelers should run away with this division. But knowing Pittsburgh, that probably isn't going to happen. The Jacksonville Jaguars, borderline elite. It is time to finally start talking about Jacksonville because golly, their win was super impressive. And I'm just gonna say it. The blah blah. Trevor Lawrence should not have gotten that touchdown. The Chiefs should have tackled him down. But Trevor Lawrence and those last day heroics. What am I talking about, really? But those late game heroics from the Jaguars is just exactly what you want to see from the Jaguars. And they actually look like a really good football team, which is shocking to say the very least. The Buffalo Bills are yet another top 5 team that I'm kind of iffy on right now. Like, they lost to the Patriots, and sure, the Patriots are a good team, admittedly, but this is a team that they definitely should have beat. And sure, it's a good win for the Patriots and a nice story for Stephon Diggs, but the Bills still should have won this game, and they should have been able to stop Drake May. So this game is going to be a disappointment for the Bills for sure. The San Francisco 49ers, borderline elite. I don't know actually if I want to put them right about where the Jaguars are. I'm kind of curious there, but I'm going to put them right behind Jacksonville for now. But I think that this 49ers team has impressed a lot of people because they have survived all of the injuries. Despite all the injuries that this team has sustained this season, they are still 4-1, and this team is still a threat in this conference somehow. The Dallas Cowboys. We're going to put them in the mid tier, but we're going to put them at the top of it, which is a little surprising. But this Cowboys team has been slightly better over the last couple of weeks than they were to start the season. And sure, their win against the Jets wasn't the most impressive, but you wanted to see the Cowboys get into rhythm on offense, and that's exactly what they did. They are continuing to be efficient on offense. Now, if the defense could, match that, that would also be great. The Los Angeles Chargers are a team that is kind of interesting to rank. And I'm going to put them in the good but not great tier, right about where Denver is. And I'm going to do that because I think that for this team, the Chargers are still a good team. I think that they got beaten by a team that they were a little better than. And no offense to the Commanders, I still think they're a good team, but I need to see them win a few more games before I can trust the Commanders and put them above teams that are playing well, like the Seahawks and Steelers and the Broncos. And for the Chargers, they had that game for a little bit, and then they just let the Commanders do whatever they want after that. And you just don't want to see that from your team in general. And finally, we round off our list with two top 5 teams. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I'm going to put at number 2, because, man, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing really good football right now. Like, I'm impressed. I think of all the players in the NFL right now, Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in football right now, and I genuinely mean that. And then you get the Detroit Lions, who are generally right now considered to be the best team in football. And of course, I am going to agree with that because I am a Lions fan. But this is our power ranking, so let's rank them from 32 to 1. Number 32, New York Jets. 31, Giants. 30, Browns. 29, Dolphins. 28, Saints. 27, Raiders. 26, Titans. 25, Ravens. 24, Bengals. 23, Bears. 22, Cardinals. 21, Falcons. 20, Vikings. 19, Texans. 18, Cowboys. 17, Carolina Panthers. 16, Chiefs. 15, Patriots. 14 Commanders, 13 Seahawks, 12 Steelers, 11 Chargers, 10 Broncos, 9 Packers, 8 49ers, 7 Jaguars, 6 Rams, 5 Bills, 4 Eagles, 3 Colts, 2 Buccaneers, and 1 Lions. But as always, thank you for watching. God bless, and with that,
Peace!